We live in a world where heartbreaks are random. We live in a world where you understand freedom is now just a name, but it's not been attained. He committed a heinous crime against the blind woman by raping her and run to Kayana. You understand love is a contributing factor leading to the problems.
But love is a difficult thing. So I don't know whether you realize that.
Battle is very
but
difficult.
It's something that is so sweet and everybody wants to involve. But unless you go in there, you get your experience. So how did you manage to put these stories together?
Right? Motivation comes as a result of a young girl who is forced into marital space without her desire
of getting married.
And her desire get blink on the way. She can attain to her dreams. Very intelligent, very brilliant. She could change the world if she was given all the support.
You talk about the blind bridges of love. What is so special about this book?
Amazing. I think beautiful viewers will love to know the blind, the bridges of love.
Greetings everyone out there and welcome to the VM Show. Today we have one of the Gambian author. He's one of the guy who has come out with excellence achievement when it comes to writing. And today he's going to tell us how he began his journey. On that note, we're not going to waste time. We are going to hand over the microphone to him to introduce himself. And then from there, we will definitely go down to the interview. But again, viewers out there, we will appreciate if you can share this video. And do not forget to watch our full video on YouTube because normally, we normally bring at least 2-3 minutes on the Facebook and of course on TikTok. On that note, welcome to the VM Show and then introduce yourself.
Thank you so very much, VM. It's a pleasure to be here. Wonderful viewers, I am Abdou Komma. Of course, a student, a third-year student. Studying at the University of the Gambia, major in biology. Yes, I am a young Gambian poet and a prolific writer. I started my journey in Nasir, Ahmadiyya Muslim and Senior Secondary School, where I specialized in the field of science. The culture of science students being in the arts field will be discussed and much in the details, inshallah. So that is me, Abdou Komma, currently the Vice President of the Writers Association, University of the Gambia.
All right. Abdou, tell us what really motivated you to become a writer.
Writing is an inspiration, others will say. I feel inspired because I'm from a very doomed society.
You mean doomed?
A very doomed society.
Why? Why do you choose the word doom?
I am inspired because I'm from a very subservient society where people don't find greatness in their own people. So writing became my inspiration because I feel like it's through writing that I can change lives. It's through writing, the power of my pen, that I can talk about ills and misconducts in society. And now I will tell you what motivated me as a writer.
Tell me.
Like I told you. Living in a very sad society, the doomed society, where people don't want to change. I realized, what can I do to change that system of misconduct in society?
What are these misconduct that you are talking about? Because when you talk about misconduct, a lot of people literally might be lost, especially people who are actively good and trying to motivate the young ones to do better. And then, some of our parents that focus on the culture and the norms. So tell us exactly, what do you mean here that people are doomed?
Okay, these misconducts are the problems of society, which has been conducted by our own people. Like, we all understand that we are all from civilized societies. We live in a very modern society before. Very, very important. Of course, before we don't have, our ancestors were not good writers, but they were good perceivers. They have foresights that can tell what a child can be without writing in the pen. But when they see you, they can tell. Now, all those wisdoms, those foresights, it's been vanished because people forget where they came from. Like the saying goes, a river that forgets its source will soon dry. If you forget your background, you'll perish. So this misconduct is like the problems of domestic violence, the problems of culture of silence, the culture of like religious bigotry, the culture of fundamentalism, the culture of for early marriage. These are all problems. So my inspiration as a writer is to write about these ills, this misconduct, for it to be straight and appropriate in society. So as a writer, I have a role to play. That is to write.
Negative to positive.
Like I told you, the society is full of misconducts, problems, culture of silence, domestic violence, and all that. So my inspiration came to change the strategies or the norms of society. So I will tell you a scenario. Well, one of the fundamental reasons why I venture in the field of writing. You realize I was once living in a society where I see children are being forced to get married.
Early marriage.
Early married. Where I see children don't normally graduate. They don't normally attain to their dreams.
In those days or recent, in this current...
My motivation is as a result of gone are those days, but I know they're still existing.
Okay.
In our various communities, they're existing. So my motivation come as a result of a young girl who is forced into marital space without her desire
of getting married.
And her desire get blink on the way. She can attain to her dreams. Very intelligent, very brilliant. She could change the world if she was given all the support. I realized, okay, it's a problem. Now, me as a writer, what can I do? That time I was a writer.
To change
the status quo. Okay, then I wasn't a writer. So looking at this is a problem. It affects me. Like, it affects me.
Physically,
emotionally. Of course, I was like, okay, I think I can do something about this. Let me see what I can do. Can I put a pen on the paper? Or can I start speaking verbally? I think all these two things can go together to bring about change. Should I gather my people in the community, sensitize them, or should I use my pen to change the lives of my classmates or people that also went to the Western education, that understand the culture of Western education? So this motivates me. The girl was really traumatized. I was like, that was
by her family, or
of course
by who?
But of course, you will say families are responsible of doing that. By her parents, force her to get married.
But do you know that in Africa, people are like, we are told to respect our norms and culture. So you've been saying something here that we should know our culture, we should know our background. So how are you going to relate this to your society?
Cultures are important, but some cultures are also hindrance to our development. Like sometimes we will say, when Islam culture come, what do we say? You leave culture and follow Islam. But when culture also come in our lives, which you know is not comfortable or is not appropriate to your life, you need to leave that culture and set to what you need. But the problem is, because we are from societies, we believe this is a taboo. It should not be done, even though it affects your emotional well-being. Because it's already a tradition or it's a culture. If you don't do it, people consider you otherwise. So as writers, our role is to sensitize the people.
Okay.
As writers, our role is to tell people, no matter what happens, as far as that is your development, your personal development, you need to follow your dreams. This is why we have different types of writers. Writers that involve in social issues, writers that involve in regional issues, writers that involve in political issues. So writers have different ways of changing lives. In fact, society is one of the biggest environment writers could involve in and change narratives. So writing is beautiful.
Yeah, it is beautiful, but when you look at it on the other hand, it is not in the eyes of those who don't like reading. So how are you going to make your message to read to those people when you know that some of these people don't like reading and they don't want to waste their time on reading? How are you going to captivate the mindset of those who don't obviously love reading?
Charles Darwin said, one of the greatest scientists, it is not the strongest that survives. The strongest that survives, or the most fittest that survive in society, but the one that is most responsive to change. I will say it again. Charles Darwin said, it is not the strongest that survive, but the one that is most responsive to change.
Okay.
So people, you realize this is a problem. Okay, I, Abdou, also the novel, The Blind Bridges of Love. The story in The Blind Bridge of Love talks about ills and misconducts. Okay, you can read, you went to school, right? But somebody in the other areas cannot read. Somebody in our societies cannot read. You call them archaic people, but they are not archaic people, because I don't consider, like, if you cannot speak illiterates, I don't think if you cannot speak good English, you are illiterate. I don't think so, because we have seen a lot of people who go to school and they are not still people. They are not people that can bring about change. And we have seen people who have never sat in the classroom, but they have the wisdom
to
change narratives. So my proposal or my area of focus is, I see people in my community that love reading a lot, and that is a problem. Like they said, if you want to hide something from a black man, put it in a book. We normally hear the saying, right? So we as writers, what is our strategies? This is why still now you have a Gambia, like Gambia read. But what are you doing as a writer to change that culture, that narrative? What you do is easy. Put what you write into practicality, into applicability, in the local languages. If they cannot read in local language, demonstrate it for them. That is where drama will come to play. Film production will come to play. Sensitization will come to play. Hire people, go to community, talk to them in their language that they understood. You know, one of the biggest problems we have as a country is we speak to people in the language that they don't understand. You know, Nelson Mandela said, if you speak to a man in a language that he don't understand, that goes to his head. But if you speak to a man with a language that he understood, that goes to his heart. You know, the head and the heart is different, right? So let's speak to our people in the language that they understood. If you write in English language, you are seeing nothing is changing. There are a lot of writers in this country. But the question is, what have writing impact in our society? If you ask a Safir in your community, that is a question. You wrote a book for 7 years back, 5 years. What is still now your book is in the bin, is in the libraries, but still now problems are happening in society.
So you as an author, you should question yourself. This literally, is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, I myself and my fellow authors there, this is a point
that you should ask yourself.
We should ask ourselves. Now, this is my first publication in the country. I understand this is a problem. You know, like everybody in this country can outline a problem, but not everybody is outlining a solution. Like now, we aren't even going forward. Everybody is a problem creator, but not everybody is a problem solver. And in a society where people create problems, they don't solve problems. How do you expect development? That's difficult. So me as a writer myself, I am doing this. I want to act my book into real life situation.
Okay.
I want to be reaching the schools, communities, talk to them in a language that they understand, so that they can act on what is in my book, the lessons.
Now let's come back to the book that you wrote.
Thank you so much.
First of all, let me ask this question because it's important. If I say the book you wrote, maybe I have read, but now let us come down to your level. Tell us exactly how many books have you wrote and how did you achieve it?
But this is my first ever publication, which is The Blind Bridges of Love in the country. But although I have been making some significant contributions in the literary community in African societies. So this is one of the biggest steps I have ever taken as a writer.
I mean, it's your official achievement that you have
in a country where I found myself, in a country where I was born. And I will be launching my work in this country. It's the biggest achievement for me.
You talk about The Blind Bridges of Love. What is so special about this book?
Amazing. I think beautiful viewers will love to know the blind, the bridges of love. Yes, I think we need to understand this. We live now in a world where sacrifice is not prevailing. We live in a world where you understand freedom is now just a name, but it's not been attained. You understand we live in a world where heartbreaks are random, but we don't question ourselves what is the cost and how can we bring about change in that section. You understand love is a contributing factor leading to the problems of our lives, but we refuse to ask ourselves how do we solve these challenges in our lives. The Blind Bridges of Love center point all these problematic factors, looking at how the blind woman was traumatized in that particular kingdom, looking at how she thrived resilience, looking at how she understand that patience is important in our life, is significant in our lives. She thrived resilience. She understood time is a factor. If you understand that time is a person that every man must thrive, that is if you understand the importance of time. She was traumatized in a particular kingdom. She was abused for a crime that she never committed.
What do you mean she never committed?
Okay, in that particular kingdom, I give 3 names or 4 names in the book. Bruala, Tayala, Kayana, and the land of dreams. Bruala was a land very much full of chaos, problems, and agony. Tayala was a land which was caused by their ancestors. So these two villages have problems, and this is where the blind woman is from.
And what about the other one? You mentioned three.
Kayana. Yeah. Kayana was a land where a man who committed a crime in Bruala run to Tayala thinking he'll be salvaged, because sometimes you can commit a crime in Komma. You run to Basa, you think you are salvaged. But traditions always haunt, because we know we are from societies. That's happened to that guy called Ogafo. He committed a heinous crime against the blind woman by raping her and run to Kayana. I give the land called Kayana, a land where if you think you commit a crime by running away or absconding, you think you are salvaged. But you are not salvaged. He was never salvaged when he committed a crime. He was being haunted by the evil spirit and traditions of their land. Land of Dreams was a land where every man must live, even if you are from a land that is barren. If you read there, you achieve your dreams. Look at the land of dreams. That is where the blind man went to from Tayala to Bruala to salvage himself, because his land was cursed. Like I told you, Tayala was a cursed land. Their ancestors cursed there. Bruala was a land where the blind woman is from, but she was being misused. She was being abused by the kingdom people by banishing her after she was being being raped by somebody she loved most.
Okay. Now, before we go, because I know the book is fascinating, and then probably the audience need to try and read that book. But then, where did you gather this inspiration from? Where did you have all this information? How did you manage to get the stories and then to combine them together to make it a complete story?
Okay, like I told you, writing is diverse. Imaginative writing, we call it. Fiction, not true, non-fiction, true. We have fiction, not true, and non-fiction. Writing is diverse, right? So this is an imaginative thing.
Yeah.
So I just one day sat down. I think, like, writers are critical thinkers. Like, they think a lot. They look at society. They look at situation. They look at the environment, and they put their pen into paper. So I just sat down one day. I thought about love. I thought about love. Kano, mandingol ko kano. I thought about love. Muno kano la kumari mola baluo kono. Muno kano la kumari ntela dunia baluo kono. I asked myself to myself. That's called rhetorical questions.
What is the value of love?
What is the value of love? So let me make relationship. Let me relate bang to our particular kingdoms. Before we living in kingdoms, before we were living in a particular, we living in the archaic life, they will say. Before we live in society, we were living very modestly, very comfortably. I think I can connect love to our society. Because I realize also that there's a lot of young people now, they are in the marital space, but their marriage can last long. I realize now, in society, people don't want to have patience. So I look at all these troubles affecting us, now put into the section of love.
But love is a difficult thing. I don't know whether you realize that.
Battle is very difficult.
But it's something that is so sweet and everybody wants to involve. But unless you go in there, you get your experience. So how did you manage to put these stories together?
Oh, I manage the stories together. I will say this is part of inspiration. Sometimes when God gives you a talent, sometimes you don't even know how it comes about. But I'm telling you, I'm curious. It's a curiosity kills a cat. Scientists are very curious people. This is what they discover things. So I'm curious about love, about freedom.
I hope your hearts were once broke. Were not.
I know you will say that. They say the blind bridges of love.
Yeah.
Like, maybe it's love. Of course, it's love. These people, they fall in love, and at the end of the day, they were together. They have problems on the way, but at the end of the day, they reconciled, and their love thrives. So sometimes the message is love can be difficult in the beginning, but in the end,
yeah, but sometimes it can be sweet, but in the end, it's difficult.
I believe. But if you read this book will tell you some of the important points that you need to take as a human being, as a man, as a woman.
Okay, let's come back to your book launch. Okay. How prepared are you?
Book launch, 10th May, The Blind Bridges of Love. Currently, it is hitting every corner of this country.
Really?
It is hitting every cornerstone.
Are you using the magic of love to make it?
I don't know really if love is playing its role,
yeah.
but Komma is playing his role.
As well, huh?
Yes, but I know the book launch is very fascinating. Currently, we understood that it is getting massive recognition to many people. I don't know, is it because of I told my guys, don't come for Komma, come for the work I did. If you support Komma, Komma will go, but support what Komma does. Don't just look at me, read the work.
Yeah,
If you read the work, then you can know who is Komma.
that's right.
I told them, like, writers don't look for names, they look for impact, what
Yeah.
they do. Chino Achebe died, how many years now? Things falls apart.
So many years ago.
People are still talking about things fall apart.
Yes.
It's not about Chino Achebe, it's things falls apart, then Chino Achebe.
Yeah.
Right? So as writers, we focus more on the impact. The impact would bring fame, will bring you to there. So the book launch, I'm very well prepared. Right now, currently, we are doing a lot of our preparations. Already, we are already done at the tail end of it. So we gained some interviews, already.
And who are we expecting on the ground?
Yes, we are expecting a lot of prominent politicians.
People like me are exceptional. We are not there, right?
VM Trawale is in fact the man. Without him,
Don't talk about me here.
okay, no problem. He said I should not talk about him, but I know he will be there. He is one of the prominent people behind the blind bridge of love. So if you want to see him, please come there. Not only him, typical influencers will be there. Prominent politicians, prominent businessmen and women, and of course, young people, elders, everybody.
You mean everybody?
Everybody. If you look at my flyers, you can see prominent people.
Including the babies, right?
The babies are even invited. So the babies are invited at the blind bridges of love.
Yeah.
So if you want to know more about love and more about the blind bridge of love, and want to celebrate literature, celebrate Abdou Komma.
But I was told that people don't know love. Love is something that we can never know. It's something that we can never. It's part of the feeling, but it's something that we cannot play with. I don't know whether you understand what
I
I'm
understand.
talking about.
We learn in our senior school that love is an abstract noun. You cannot see
or touch,
but you can feel.
it's like an air.
It's like an air. So at some point it
We're
exists.
going to break it here. Viewers out there watching us, please do not forget he's Abdou Komma, popularly known as the perpetual poet and of course Gramanian. I don't know why he got all this name, but they are too long.
You should have asked the question. You should have asked the question. How does the Gramanian Komma comes about?
Yeah, but we're gonna talk about all those things. But what we're gonna do, we're going into short break. Of course, we'll be right back. Stay tuned and don't forget to share the video. Once again, the book launch is taking place on the 10th of May. And then we're inviting each and every one of you to be there, because personally, the VM International and its crew will be there. And of course, some of the people that were invited, some of them have already called me on the ground. People like Jelba Kuyate, he's ready, because I knew that he's going to be there. Although I don't know if he's going to perform, but I know he's going to be there, at least to watch out what is going to take place. So don't forget, let's come out in large number. We don't know exactly the time actually your event will start.
3 p.m. 3 p.m. Gambian time.
Okay, where exactly?
At Baobab Hotel.
Okay.
Baobab, just after people have been asking me where is the event taking place.
Yeah.
Just after turntable. If I ask anybody, they will tell you this is
After turntable.
After turntable, Baobab Hotel.
So it's not far from turntable. Where exactly in turntable?
I would say you don't reach at just around Kersering.
Okay.
Kersering Johnson, around that end. If you ask anybody, they will direct you.
They will direct you. So listeners, this is the idea. If you want to have more info, please, our numbers are pinned there. Call me or call us. In fact, we are going to tell you how it's going to be well organized. So for now, we're going into short break. Of course, we'll be right back. But then, if you don't see us, expect us another day. Bye-bye for now.
VM hena kumande ni la vita kibaro senemala foye fota VM ya dunia bese je mondro mindi dikile ala kibaro seneata a professionaliata do ko seneata ma ayala do ko lam fe lafta dunia ye je sinya kili sefta VM la muna VM hena kumandinye alang VM kumandinye muna VM hena kumandinye tarawale hena kumandinye VM hena kumandinye
international.
akata Gambia na fafe mbati a media soni ni molbulu dunia be kono fafe mfutata VM misala dunia bele wojede fafe lafta kuba la Gambia buru dunia e kalamuta ke bonni media diko refuta VM la ni futa de tolle tol mo hajo jaralti media la karola Allango jamano diata muna VM hena kumandinye tonya jamano diata le VM jamano diata ni ajanga jamano diata futa nyoro sone ata nyomol bulu ko be manke nyala ferenga saitan dila hani bela laranka saji be kibaro sene yala VM le wono Allango VM kumandinye muna VM hena kumandinye kibaro la fana kumandinye VM hena kumandinye